Hello there, Bridging the Gap family. My name is David James, and I am one of the hosts and the founder of Bridging the Gap. It's been a really busy past week here where we've had a great time on the set over at Pack 14 where we had the Mitchell boys, I like to call them. We had Pastor Craig Mitchell and Mr. Community Jermichael Mitchell along with my wife on the set, and we had an opportunity to really talk about some important things that are going on, including mental illness, including the community and how the community responds to mental illness. Hello, welcome back to Bridging the Gap. We're here with Keisha James. Actually, she's my best friend, my wife, and the better 3/4 of me. But we want to talk a little bit about Praise in the Park.
Yeah.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about this Praise in the Park.
Well, Praise in the Park, I don't want to get away from your questions, but I got to say it. So anyway, when COVID hit, I just felt the Lord drawing to still preach the word, get it out there. And how do you do that? We weren't allowed to go inside buildings, and you had this amount of people that you could have in the building, so can't reach people in that aspect, so said take it outside. So I took it outside, and the Lord was really good, and I was like, Lord, I'm just gonna let you lead. Whatever you say, I'll do. So what's the title? Praise in the Park. Where you want it? How do you go about that? So I went walking. And I don't know how anybody else prays, but I go where the Lord tells me to go, and he led me to Salisbury City Park, and he plainly said, this is it. And why is that, Lord? It's the heart. So how do you get to people? The heart. I'm like, okay, God, I hear you. So I'm listening. So put a group of people together, and since then we've been feeding the homeless. And what we do is we get get people to donate some hot dogs and some burgers and some chips and water. Keep it simple because we want to feed them, but we want them to get the meat. We want them to get the word. So I'd like for the community to be more involved because, again, we're feeding the homeless. It's to benefit them, and it is to get the word out about Jesus because his return is soon. So we want to make sure that people are ready.
Nice. Now, I think I actually saw the advertisement somewhere on Facebook.
Just posted it actually, but our next Praise in the Park is September 20th. And just want to give a shout out to our mayor because he's very helpful with that and by providing the park for us. We're always at the bandstand and at the pavilion there. So if you'd like to come out and serve or help in any way, maybe sing or even give a testimony.
Nice. Now, I think I saw it on Eastern Shore Undercover. It was good to see Earl and Spring put that out.
Yes, I'm very thankful for that because they do have a lot of followers.
Yes, they do. Now, the Bishop Dickerson over to the Christian shelter, is he involved with this?
He is aware, and I'd like to talk to him about being more involved because I do, we actually, my husband and I, we serve the Christian shelter the second Tuesday of every month, so we'll be doing that tomorrow too. So if anyone would like to come out and help with that, we'd love to have you. So yeah, I'm just pretty much keeping him aware of a lot of things that we're doing in the community for our homeless.
And as far as Halo,
haven't really reached out to them a whole lot.
Okay.
But I see the people out there a lot.
Sure,
we ride by a lot, so it's word of mouth when it comes to that. But I don't know why. It's just primarily we've been working with the Christian shelter. No shade, no hate, or anything like that. It's just the way it's fallen into our laps. It's how God is working.
Well, I do know. Thank you. The last time we had the Praise in the Park, actually, I had the opportunity to go to around the Halo shelter area. Actually, not at Halo, but the old Rite Aid there. It's actually now fenced off, and there was a lot of the homeless laying out there, and along with a couple other of the
brethren, we were able to get them to come out, and this definitely does reach the community out there. Now,
Yes, definitely.
what are some of the things that you offer the homeless when they come out there?
Well, we have, if you're referring to our blessing bags, we do receive donations for those also, whether it be monetary or the actual needs for the bags, which are usually some body wash, male and female, and some deodorant. Those are helpful. And just your basic toiletries, toothpaste, toothbrush, and we usually leave a non-perishable food item in there.
We're back. We're back here
Awesome,
with Pastor
awesome.
Craig Mitchell. Pastor Mitchell.
Good day to you. Good day to you.
Good to see you,
Good
sir.
to see you again as well.
yes. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Craig Mitchell, born and raised in this area. I'm an educator for 16 years, going into year 17. Also a pastor in this area. Been pastoring for 4 years now.
Okay.
Supernatural Faith Center here in Salisbury, Maryland.
Okay. Now, you said you are a teacher.
Yes.
Aren't you also something else with the teachers?
Oh, yes. I'm the vice president of the local teachers union, Wacomico County
Okay.
Educators Association. Yes.
Awesome. So you're involved.
I am involved.
Awesome. So the way that you and I got to meet was a prayer vigil during a tragic time that
Yes.
happened here. You want to talk a little bit about that prayer vigil?
Absolutely. So, my church that I pastor, we would frequently have outdoor gatherings, outdoor services downtown Salisbury at the amphitheater. And, but however, about a year ago, things hit close to home. There was a young man, age 10, that attended our church frequently, was prematurely, his life was taken by gun violence. And so that really, definitely everyone close to him definitely took a toll on us, as well as the community. Very tragic incident that really was the piece that really birthed the idea of a prayer vigil. People were constantly, asking. I could be in Sam's Club or somewhere, and they would just be like, "Oh, did you hear about what's happening with the young man? And what are we gonna do? I don't hear anybody saying anything. I don't hear anybody doing anything. No balloon release, or how the typical things that we normally do." And so, I just, when it came to ministry aspect, I like to sometimes stay in my shell and just be
Observe a little bit, yeah.
just observe. But it just kept weighing on me because of the connection that I had. So I finally, was definitely led by the Lord to have that prayer vigil and wanted to bring the community together. In fact, that particular week, that young man wasn't the only child that lost their lives. So a lot of things were happening that week. So the city of Salisbury was definitely in pain. They were definitely grieving. So they needed a time of community to come together that give that support and say, hey, we may not understand exactly what you're going through. We're not in your shoes, but we know what to do. We can offer some things to you to help you get through. And so that's how we all met.
Now, how did you get so many? Because there was a lot of people there.
It was.
How did you get that many people together so quickly?
It was. It was amazing. It was very amazing, eyebrow raising, moment for me, because I didn't expect, that turnout as it was. All I just know is the moment I hit the send button on my social media page, people begin to share it. At that particular time, the city of Salisbury officials were just, hey, we want to know when you want to do this, and send me the flyer, and we'll share it. So they shared it, and so everybody just began to share it and get wind of it, and they began to come out, and it was a tremendous outpouring.
Absolutely. It seemed like the hype around it was, let's do this again, but then as soon as you try to plan it the second time,
Oh yes,
opposition.
Yes, there was much opposition. In fact, at this moment of this taping, there's still, opposition, and for me, because I'm only used to the ministry arena, and of course the educational aspect, arena, but I've got to see in the planning and strategies so many, parties and ideologies and all of those things, and everybody, after that first, let's go, let's do it, when's the next one? But after that first one, the city of Salisbury began to duck my calls. Just the systems, you can tell from an outsider looking in that there were systems in place are faulty.
Right.
Because you would get a hold of someone via phone call, and they would say, oh, we'll get back to you, or send the email.
Right.
And so the systems was just, you can just tell there's a lot of faultiness that needs to be repaired within the municipal government.
We are back. Okay, we are back, everyone, and now we have Mr. Community. Jermichael Mitchell has joined us.
Good to see you,
Jermichael, how
sir.
you been?
I'm well. Good to see you as well.
Yes.
Good to meet you as well. Yes,
All right. First question I'm asking you is, are you and Pastor Mitchell over here related?
Look, you know how it goes, man. When you have the same last name, we are related somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
We just haven't figured it out
That's
yet.
right.
You got a similar passion for the community, though.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit of what's going on in the community from your perspective.
Man, so, again, it's that back to school time. A lot of people are doing back to school drives, different churches, different community organizations, man. So that's really the main pitch right now, just trying to work towards getting those kids back to school. I mean, there's no kid that should go back to school without supplies. I say that all the time.
I like that.
Especially with the amount of drives that'll be happening in our community for kids to have supplies, book bags, and things of that nature. So we do a good job of trying to cover that. And then, of course, as the pastor said earlier, just trying to pray. A lot of people are having back to school prayers as well that's happening. I've seen 2 so far. I believe more will pop up. But just trying to put a coverance over our teachers, our children,
That's good.
As they go back to school, and try to have the right mindset. So
Okay.
I like that.
That's right.
Yeah. So you and Pastor Mitchell, y'all have known each other for a while.
Yeah. So worked in the school system myself for 5.5 years. He was in there way longer than I was. But he also has a passion for other things. He's a track coach, basketball coach.
Wow.
So we've connected over the years through those things. I've been in middle staff and administration for a long time. I was at Bennett Middle for a couple of years, and we work well together. Again, having men in our school system is a key thing because it changes the way children act.
Strong men of God is what we need in our school systems for sure. So we appreciate you.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. And so both of you have worked with the executive too, huh?
Yeah. So she was a teacher at the time. I kind of, at the one point in time, she had went to high school, and I became the middle school girls basketball coach at that time. Okay. So that was a thing. But yeah, we had a lot of interaction with her as a teacher. Again, people felt how they felt then about her as well as a teacher. I've never had any bad experiences with her. Real talk, as a teacher, I never had a bad experience with her. And there was times we had great conversation about, she was struggling with a kid, she couldn't figure it out. So it's better to ask than people that, like you said, are actively involved in the community or may have a different perspective. So I can respect her for asking those questions at the time.
I like that.
Nice. What about you? How was your interacting with the executive?
Oh, first of all, I was actually surprised that she actually ran for county executive, because I'm just used to her, teaching and, coaching basketball, but never.
Did not know she was a coach.
Yeah, never one moment that we knew that one day I'm going to be leaving education just to run the county. But I've never had any,
Right.
any bad encounters with her at all.
Okay.
I got much love for Julie.
Okay, so I'm
Amen.
learning we got a bunch of coaches out here. This is
Yes.
this is awesome, especially when we're talking about community here. So I actually last week we were at a Shorebirds game, and I happened to look on my phone and see that there was a lot of happening over there by YMCA. You want to talk about that,
Yeah,
Michael?
for sure, man. Big shout out to the County Parks and Rec, Mr. Brian Workman, for first off allowing us to do the event. Of course, when events like that happen, there's a fear factor that comes into play, whether county or city. But he was able to work with us. We were able to have a safety plan put in place just in case something was to happen. But we have a culture around the 1v1, one-on-one basketball scene and the 2v2 basketball scene. We live in a social media world, and content is everything. So now you have players who are building content. They're going around traveling, playing basketball in different places, making a name for themselves. So I first want to give a shout out to Trey Morse. It's a little cousin of mine, a little brother of mine. He's also one of the coaches in the community. He put it together, him and a guy named Nelson Brown, where I came into play, and it's like one of my biggest things. I always try to play the background to support people.
Nice.
Right? Like it's one of
Nice.
those things where I've made a lot of connections in the community. I know a lot of people. So I try to always use that to push us further. So I was able to sit down. I was able to bring some things to the table to help, make sure we had the insurance, to make sure that we had the safety plan in place, and to know that, I was going to be around along with others from the community to be security, to be safety, make sure that we can do this again.
You did your own security, didn't you?
Yeah, so we had Kurt was out there, gentleman that we worked with well. Wycomico County Police were out there, and it was the plus for us was they allows us to police ourselves. That was a big
I like
thing,
that.
man. Where
I like
they
that.
didn't walk around, they didn't mix and mingle because we asked them not to. Because again, from our community, that relationship hasn't all the way healed. So a lot of times their presence at times makes us more of a fear factor than it does of us feeling safe.
Wow.
And
Wow.
they adhered, man. They literally stayed in the back by the pickleball courts. I went back and we would check in with them to make sure everything was okay. The only thing we had to do again was move some cars that was in the handicap parking. Other than that, we literally had an
Everybody wants that
Park
close
in the
parking.
handicap park.
So, but other than that, man, it was an amazing community event, man. I
Nice.
couldn't tell you the numbers that were out there. Astronomically, man, it was just an amazing event. And as she said before, when you put God first, which Trey and myself did, man, it's going to blossom. It's going to flourish. So it did that, and we were just grateful, and we look forward to doing it again.
Wow. We've been talking about coaching here. I've noticed a lot online that you stay coaching.
Yeah. That's my life, man. My livelihood. A few years back, I lost my nephew. He was 5 years old, and he was playing.
Sorry to hear that.
And as he was playing again, man, it was a turnaround for me because I poured so much into my community. I poured so much into people, and to get the love and admiration when he passed away, I heal by being around children. It's a
Nice.
big
Wow.
thing for me. So
Wow,
coaching
right.
is key because it just helps heal me. It gives me that edge that I don't feel the depression about what happened with him.
Right.
So I've always found ways again to be a self healer, man. What can I do, giving back to my community that can also heal me?
Yes.
So coaching is one of those things.
Okay. Wow.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Yes, man.
Yeah. So it's not just something you're doing.
Yeah.
It's a passion.
Yeah, it's a passion, and it got to be, man. With anything that you do, man, if you can wake up every day and not get paid to do it, then you really love it. Right? That's a big thing.
That's right.
This reminds me of something I said. I was talking to David Downs, who's on the board over there for the Christian shelter, and he was telling me, this was some years back, how trying to keep people working, and notice I said working at the Christian shelter, he can't keep employees. And I told him then that when a person's doing something like that, as long as it's a passion, they'll do it. But when they start noticing it as a job,
Yeah.
they lose interest.
They lose interest fast.
Right.
Especially people of minority descent. Just to be real with you, man. Like, we are free spirits, so at times, again, there's supposed to be boundaries, but we like to work in our own ways at times.
Sure.
Like you said, when it becomes a job, that's when you no longer want to do it. Like coaching can become a job. Like you said, we pay money, we spend time, a lot of time with other people's children when they don't even want to spend time with their
Right.
children, man. So that is a big thing, man. Like coming out of pocket. But again, it's a blessing, right? I'm a firm believer when you plant a seed, many more seeds are going to come because that's going to grow into something later on.
Right.
So you're going to forever be prosperous. It's always going to turn into a positive as long as you're planting good seeds. So yeah.
Okay,
That's true. Thank you.
One of the topics that we're talking about today is mental illness and being aware of that.
Yeah, for sure.
You have a lot of young people that you work with. Are they open to tell you that they have these?
Yeah, so it's twofold. One, kids of today are very honest. Like sometimes too honest, right? Sometimes they're a little too honest. But a lot of kids already know their diagnosis, which to me is
concerning.
It's concerning. One, because we know in the African American community, especially the minority community, we are misdiagnosed, right?
Yes.
Our children have high energy. Our children are also alpha males, especially the boys. So sometimes their assertiveness can be seen as aggression, right? So when you
right.
telling little Johnny to keep sitting down, maybe you're dulling him down because he's a high spirit.
Especially when they sedate them with pills.
Correct. So
Right.
that was my next portion. You've sedated little Johnny from 4 to 6, and now you're telling him, well, that medicine is no longer strong enough. So now you done switch it to a stronger medicine. You're
Right.
playing with, when you play with psychotropics, right, which control the mind, you're playing a very
Right.
dangerous game.
Right.
And then later on, and we just talked about it off air, when he's 20, 25, he can no longer seem to have a mental grasp on reality.
Wow.
Right.
You've played with his meds so many years over his life.
How can he focus?
How can he focus? How can
he
his
becomes
mind...
addicted to stuff.
Correct. And I tell people all the time, do your research before you put your children on medication, because you may be using your child as a lab rat. Do they really know the results of what's going to happen? No, because each child is different. So again, you can't tell me that my son's going to act like your son on a medication because both of their bloodlines are different. Both of their genealogy is different.
And who knows that they really need the
Exactly.
medication?
Exactly. Right. So
Wow.
I'm a firm key believer. Early on, put kids in high level activities so they can get tired. Then when they get home, they don't got as much energy. They go to sleep. That's been a normality for us. We ran around the yard for how long? A road bike for how long?
And then when there was,
That's just
and when there was a
too much electronics
Yeah,
instead
yeah,
of going
really.
outside to
Facts.
play.
Facts of life.
But I do also remember there was a discipline problem. There wasn't some kind of a medical term for it. It was called getting a spanking.
For sure.
know?
No, it was one of those things where your grandmother, you knew, right, in that
Yeah.
neighborhood, what you could and couldn't do. You knew it.
Right.
We never gave excuses about anyone. Again, we didn't even know unless it was Down syndrome when we were kids.
Yeah.
Right,
Other
right.
than Down syndrome,
Physically.
yeah, physically, we never knew if someone had a mental health issue. It wasn't used as a crutch when we were kids.
No.
Right.
Right
Or
now
an
in today's
excuse.
society, correct. It's always using an excuse or a crutch. You know what I mean?
Now, Pastor Mitchell, of course, from the ministry aspect, I mean, are people more open, or you've got to kind of like search to know that?
Oh, in my neck of the woods, you gotta search. You really, it's more like, it's hidden. Most of the times, you don't realize that someone is dealing with something mentally, number one, unless they tell you.
Right.
Or number two, unless it's a moment where it's high energy and they
It
just,
comes out.
and it comes out when they have that moment. So that's what I see it. And the time that we live in, as we would say, life is lifing. And it will make an impact on you no matter who you are, what age you are, from a mental standpoint. And I think that's really, yes, I agree, it's totally about, using mental illness as a sickness. But there's really people that need help but don't know how to deal
Right.
with that. And so the only thing they know is to suppress it, don't realizing that they're suppressing it is actually destroying them.
Right.
And you,
Because they may not even understand what's going on.
Right.
Exactly. Mom, we were talking off camera, and I won't use her name because we're on camera, but my wife actually had a young lady she dealt with out there, homeless, and there was something underlying that kept her out there, but since she was out there, I'll let you explain a little bit more.
Well, she was out there, so of course she liked it because it was easy access to her drug. But my thing is, to treat that drug, you put it on methadone. To me, that's just another drug. But by the grace of God, she said, I'm ready to go home. But the thing is, she's still here on a daily basis because she relies on that methadone. So for me, one drug to treat another one is still an addiction.
Facts. And to chime in on that, I'm a holistic person. I believe you have to heal the mind, body, and soul in order for a person to no longer be on drugs. So a lot of times, like she just said, if you're giving a person a stronger drug than what they're already using in the streets, and they're still becoming addictive that have to come to you for that drug, then are we truly healing people?
No.
We're creating more addicts just in a different way, right? So again, it's literally about true healing, which is holistically, like you said, it takes the mind, body, and spirit to do such a thing. And if you're not attacking it on all of those levels, you're never really going to get healed.
When it comes to trying to get the word out, you've got a lot of opposition. You've got the pastor over there that wants to do a prayer vigil, and because it's not politically something that's going to help them, they're not helping. They're putting dispensaries right in front of Halo. You've got there's too many other things going on here, and it seems like nobody's trying to help. So the question is, as leaders, what do you do next?
Another point that I thought was pretty interesting that was brought up during our segment there was when Jermichael was talking about what he wants to see accomplished in the future, and some of the things that some of the haters that are try to bring things against him, how some of those things that they try to bring against him is not going to weigh him down. And I want you to listen to this.
Again, this is the whole reason for Bridging the Gap. We want to definitely bridge the gap between those that are either misinformed or have no information and those that have the information. And this is good. This
is the way to get right to the source.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I remember dealing, well, not me personally, but our county executive, when she was dealing with issues, it was due to misinformation.
Right.
So
yeah.
And a lot of times that's what it is. Like I said, no knock to Mr. Taylor. I'm not to get on the
sure.
But it's not our job. It's not our mayor's job to do community things.
Right.
They're not. It's not our county exec's job to do community things.
Right.
It's their job to empower people in the community to do community things. Right. So many people look at them for the answer.
I like that.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. We have the answers. We just need them to open some doors. Right. Once they open some doors, we already have the services and the projects and the mindset to do great work. We just need to be empowered. And that's the biggest key thing for when you're in political positions.
Knowledge
you don't
is
have
power.
Yeah, exactly. You shouldn't be doing the work. There's tons of people to do the work. Give them an opportunity to do the work.
Right.
Okay. Don't put up a barrier again where I got to pay all this money for a park, or I got to do all these other things for a park. That's a barrier, like you said. Now I no longer want to do community work because there's so many barriers in the place. Make it easy for me. Roll out the red carpet. Well, I'm gonna start doing more community work.
I like that.
But I like to throw a little question out to people. I don't have written down. This one would be for Pastor Mitchell. Question is are you thinking about running?
I'm thinking about running.
That's good.
I am definitely, I've been in prayer about it. And I'm also an agent of change.
I know that's right.
And so with those two qualities, I'm more closer to running.
For sure.
Okay, awesome. You talking about county or city?
County.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Got
awesome. You heard it here first. I guess I should ask the other Mr. Mitchell. Are you running?
So yeah, I am running for mayor again.
Okay.
It's one of those things again, as the gentleman said. No knock to anyone who has had that position. I'm community oriented, man. I'm boots on the ground, and I believe that's a big difference compared to some of the people who we have politically running, who just want to run a great campaign here to one day get to Annapolis. Our objective is to make sure that Salisbury and Wycomico County is always good. I don't have no business in Annapolis. I don't want no business in Baltimore. I don't need those places. Aren't where I live, where I thrive at. My people are right here in Salisbury, right here on the Eastern Shore. So yes, we will be running again in 2027. As of right now, the game plan is to again, just try to get more people who have never voted and try to.
You did set a record for that.
Try to persuade some of those people who did vote before our way. That's one of the reasons, as you said, I'm a shower. not a talker. So if you look at my life, you know that my life is community. That's it. That's all. Like there's no questions around it. I know they tried to throw some trash in the game last time. I am still an avid gun advocate. I believe everyone should protect their family, especially in today's times. Since that incident, they have nothing now to throw in the game.
There you
That game
go.
that's been a long. I've not gotten in any wrong contact when it comes to. I'm still an avid gun owner who protects and goes to the range.
And that was an accident.
It was an accidental. That's why it got dumbed down from what it was, and they were trying to make it to actually an accidental discharge. In the city of Salisbury, no firearm, even if it's owned by you legally, can be discharged. So people have to understand the ordinances.
And you were cleaning it, right?
Exactly. I was actually getting it ready to go to the range, and it actually mishappened and misfired. And thank God nothing ever happened to the lady and things of that nature.
Right.
But they no longer have anything that they can throw dirt on my
There you
name.
go. There you go.
So this time around, I get a fresh, clean slate compared to what others. And as the brother said, man, anyone out there who is interested in running for politics should run for politics. When you feel you can better your community, because I believe people get it so mixed up. And I know this brother will speak to this, we're not politicians, and we're not trying to be politicians.
Right.
The objective is to better your government, to get people who are interested in making their government better. Politics is the experience that you get in the process of bettering your government.
I like that.
I like that.
So when you get a politician, the word lie is right in the
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So,
I love it. I love it.
You know, when you get one of those people who play politics, well, you know you're going to get a lot of lies because they're not trying to better their government.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it was a great time with the group there on Monday. Now, before I go any further, as we did have an exciting time also on the west side down at the town hall, I want to talk about something before we get to that. And that is the, first of all, the appreciation that Bridging the Gap has for PAC 14. PAC 14 is public access channel. So that is not part of Bridging the Gap, and Bridging the Gap is not part of PAC 14. We are what you would call a local producer, and we have the opportunity to use their studio. We have their opportunity to broadcast on their platforms, but anything that we do as far as Bridging the Gap, it has no reflection on PAC 14. I want to say that again. In no way are we affiliated or is PAC 14 responsible for any of our content. We are very appreciative to PAC 14 for all that they do and that they allow us to broadcast on their platforms. But again, what we air is all the responsibility of Bridging the Gap and those that are on the show. So I just want to go ahead and say that before we go any further. Now, I want to talk about the West Side and its town hall that it had, and I want to say thank you, Captain Joe Lappin, for inviting Bridging the Gap to cover parts of it. And we went down there, and if we get an opportunity, and I'll probably highlight it in this little segment here, but please go back and watch that because there was some really good information that came out. And thank you, Delegate Chris Adams and Delegate Tom Hutchinson for coming doing such a thorough job of explaining what's going on and, you know, clearing up a lot of questions that I had, at least, you know, from the fact that this is not something that's going to happen overnight to the fact it's going to be years. If it actually, and I notice, I like the word I'm hearing now, is if this actually happens. And I just thank them for the fact for coming down there. The important questions I feel I got answered. As a matter of fact, I want to go over one of the biggest questions that's been on people's mind that I asked.
I asked a question I think a lot of people want to know. Who did Mr. Graham contact to get this property? How did he know about it on Wetumpka Road? Was it in an elected official county?
I don't know if that answered.
I'm sorry,
He contacted DNR.
Right, well, there's a lot of, I've heard a lot since this came out, like, that certain people knew about this. Who knew about it before it happened? And was it something that, I talked to Delegate Otto, and I remember him telling me this has been going on for about a few years. And then I'm hearing now tonight that it's not a done deal. So who went to Annapolis and said, hey, this is Mr. Graham, he has this on Wetumpka Road, where a lot of people don't even know where it is. I mean, Delegate Beecham, he had to call me and ask me where it was in order to see it. So it's not something like seen by everybody. So who told him about this property?
Right. So all I can tell you is that the administration, DNR, was the party that entered into a contract with a private citizen to acquire land.
Okay.
All right, so that's the answer.
Okay.
Mr. Graham himself told me that he contacted DNR and he thought that DNR buying it was the best solution for his properties.
So it was him. It wasn't any
Right.
elected official.
So back in 2022, 2023 is when this all started. The appraisals were done in 2023. So yeah, he thought that this was the best outcome
Thank you.
for these farms that he wanted to sell.
Grant?
I got a new face. Ms. McCann, you.
Hi.
Delegate Tom Hutchinson, as Chris said, I live in Dorchester County. So Chris and I represent a very large district, which is the west side of Wacomico, all of Talbot County. I have most of Dorchester County, 2/3 of Caroline County. But your concerns here are just as important to us. And when I heard a lot about the feedback about the park, it certainly caught my attention. Chris happens to live here in the county, and he's actually the chair of the Wacomico delegation too. So this is, really truly in his backyard as well. So, it's interesting you brought up Bill Burton Fishing Pier, because that's something that I'm working on in Dorchester County right now, because DNR wants to rebuild. They want to tear down that old bridge across the Choptank and build a new pier, but build the pier on the other side of the bridge where the Cambridge Harbor development is going on. But I keep going back to DNR and saying, you have to engage the community, because if they put it back on the other side, that community would have just come out with pitchforks, because there's no parking for anybody over there. We had DNR, including the secretary down in Dorchester, about two and a half, maybe 3 weeks ago. And I kept even saying to him then, I said, when are you going to have the public engagement about this? I mean, we've now, I think, made the decision that that's where we're going to do that. So at the conclusion of that meeting, I said, hey, look, I know that there's a lot of concern on the west side about the new park. And he said, set it up. I'd love to have him come down to do that. And I happened to be at a Delmarva Conservative Movement meeting, met with Dave, came down here. Dave took me for a drive around the property, which was great, took me onto the property. The thing that the secretary said to me, and I don't understand this terminology necessarily, but it was interesting. His reaction was, I'm surprised they're so concerned, because this is going to be a different park than our typical state parks. It's going to be a reservation only park. It won't be a park where people can just show up, let's make a day trip down to, to the west side and go up to the park. And a lot of it around the fact that, because it's in the critical areas, he goes, we can't even build a parking lot in there. So I don't know all of those plans. He does plan to bring his planning team down to go through that. But the thing that really caught my attention is when we did go onto the property and I saw the historic homes that are on the property. And I live in Dorchester County, where Harriet Tubman is queen. And there's the Federal Visitor Center not too far from where I used to live, which does attract a lot of bus tours. And so that's a concern I have, is that when they say reservation, does that mean then they could bring a 52 passenger bus down a very narrow road and come on into the property, and what they would be able to do there on the property? So working with Delegate Adams, we both were able to get the secretary to come down here. So I think the 23rd is really the big meeting. I certainly wanted to be here tonight to make sure that they're prepared and know the flavor of what they're going to have. So with that, I
Appreciate our conversations on this. And
It's good friends now.
perfect. Thank God you can take over. So a little over a year ago, we heard whisperings of, ooh, a state park is coming to Wycomico County, the only county in the state that doesn't have a state park. Wow, that's really cool. I had no idea where it was going. That's all we heard, was state park coming to Wycomico County. Then the information was released where it was coming, and we got the information right about the same time all you guys got all the information. And so of course it took us by surprise. Wow, why'd they pick there? That's weird. All the other properties we have in this county, and they picked this place. Well, let's find out what's going on. Well, then we finally, President Cannon emailed Secretary Kurtz and said, hey, we got a lot of questions. The citizens are rightfully upset. They've got a lot of questions. Can we have a conversation? So back in May, we had a Zoom meeting with Secretary Kurtz and his team. Were you guys on that? Yeah, there was Johnny Mouse was on that one. There was a dozen or so people on there, and we asked the normal questions. What's going on? When is it going on? And they said, we're going to have a public meeting after the deal is done in June. Okay, well that was in May. June passed, July passed, it's now August. As Delegate Adams alluded to, the deal's not done. So now where are we? The answer is, we don't know.
Isn't that ridiculous? That's ridiculous.
So I was talking to a guy the other day about something that's going on in the county, and he's relaying all this crazy information. And I stopped him and I said, let me ask you something. Is the government involved in this? And he goes, yeah. And I said, there's the problem. That's the problem. So hopefully we can get some answers. As these guys said, the meeting on the 23rd would be a great opportunity to ask the questions. Please be respectful. Thank you, Delegate Hutchinson, for advancing the questions to them so they can be prepared. Because I can tell you from being on the county council, there's nothing like being in front of a TV camera and getting a surprise question that you could have gotten all your information together and
That's what Mr. Atkins did back then.
Yeah, right.
People are all for having, maintaining the historic value of that property on the other side of the creek. But as soon as it became on the other, it's not contiguous, it's totally separate. So the piece from Deep Branch Road in Spry Larmer I don't understand why that's, just because Don Graham over a period of years acquired those properties doesn't make it part of a park. The park could absolutely be, and I would probably support the fact that if it was just the old house and what he's done over there, which is actually magnificent, but to have a park that's separated by a river, I don't see how that's, I don't see the value of that. And I think that the state has other properties that they haven't done anything with anyway, hence Poplar Hill. I mean, they own that, why not make that the state park?
I don't know if they own that. I think they rent it.
I saw it.
There you go.
Yes,
Okay, I saw it.
I'm just listening. I don't even know where to start. Okay, so parking lots not being built in critical areas, they're doing it at code. That's critical areas, and they're putting a parking lot there, right? Yep. Okay, so that's out of the question. They can do whatever they want. The biggest thing is the people that are here and concerned have put a lot of money into the properties that they are living on this creek. Spent a lot of money, and not for public consumption, not for public viewing, everybody's sitting back off the road. And we bought these properties to get away from people, right? So I'm always fighting hunters that are being dropped off, people who have told me that, no, this is not your land, and people that they're telling me, oh, I know where the lines are. No, they don't. Deer being shot, I don't mean to point, deer being shot. I don't care to have people coming up to my house and saying, "Oh, I lost a deer. Do you mind if I go through your woods?" You know, I'm a kind person, and I don't like to see deer wasted. I don't like to see them hurt. We get enough of that from the road. They do come back to my property. I don't care to have the public back there. Maybe a solution is to have, if they do open it to hunting, to allow the adjacent landowners to hunt that property instead of the public. What would it matter to them who hunted it, right? Unless there's a lottery and they're trying to make money. So talk to me, you know, about that. I don't want people coming up on the creek bank to my house with their emergency. She's right about the jet skis. I hear them all the time. I don't like it. You know, they're tearing up the banks. They're just with they're zipping around, you know, it winds. They're zipping around there. There's geese and duck in there. And, you know, I don't care to have more people out in front of my house. We bought this property and built this house to have peace. Now you say it might be years before the state park is even, I don't care to worry about that for the next 5 years. I don't care to stress about it, because I'm stressing about it, right? And the property line, I'm already figuring out how to combat this, because I don't think we will have a say whatsoever in this. You don't know if the contract's been signed.
I know that it has not been settled.
That's different. Sales contract, and then you go to settlement. So if oh great. If
Calm down.
Justin.
I want to know, settlement, it hasn't gone to settlement, but has the contract been signed? I can't get an answer out of Dana Patera. Can't get an answer out of, what's her face, that's head of Maryland State Parks? What's her name?
It's,
There's no answers coming. So I don't care to worry about this and stress about it for the next however many years it takes for them to set this up, you know? And it's not gonna be good, you know, if the public is allowed back next to my property, I can promise you it's not gonna be good. Because I'm gonna have a straight line to DNR, and I will call them every minute that I see somebody back there. Now, do I wanna deal with that? Do I wanna keep looking out my window and looking over to that property to see who's walking around? No, I don't. I don't wanna do that. Mr. King has been very gracious in letting me know when somebody's supposed to come back there. But he's not gonna be able to do that when DNR, you know, buys it. So, you know, if, I'm tired of worrying about whether the contract has been signed. Because I know once that contract has been signed, I'm going into a different mode, okay?